am carrying a 3 million yuan mortgage. I poured all my savings into preparing for the wedding, but my fiancée, with her male best friend, went to a snow tent in Tibet. Two shadows pressed close together. The caption was blinding. Soulmates, nothing more. I didn't question it. I wasn't angry. I just numbly liked her post. Then I called the real estate agent. Help me sell the wedding house. The sooner, the better. Brother Wang, the agent on the other end of the line, stunned for at least 5 seconds. Xiaolin, you're not kidding, are you? That's your and Liu Ruyan's wedding house. You spent over a year decorating it. The location is great too. I'm not kidding. Brother Wang, just list it. The faster it sells, the better. The price is negotiable. My voice was as calm as if I were discussing today's weather. Brother Wang wanted to persuade me further. I cut him off. I have the deed and all the related documents. I paid 80% of the down payment. All the receipts are here. I have full authority to handle it. You just sell it. Everything else, you don't need to worry about. These words were like a calming pill. Brother Wang immediately became professional. Okay, I understand. Xiaolin, I'll come to your house to take pictures right away. I'll list it on our best channel for you today. I hung up. I opened Liu Ruyan's social media page. That snow tent photo already had dozens of likes. Her male best friend, Song Ji, had left a comment below it. Anywhere with you is a beautiful scene. Liu Ruyan replied immediately. I could even imagine her expression as she typed those words. Her pretentious, self-righteous look. Many of our mutual friends sent me private messages. Lin Fan, you're way too tolerant. How can you put up with this? Brother Fan, a man can't tolerate this. You should hurry and tell Liu Ruyan to come back. One tent, a lone man and a lone woman. Purifying their souls? I'd have to be a fool to believe that. I didn't reply to any of them and turned off my phone. I walked into the house that I had designed myself and supervised its construction and decoration bit by bit. On the wall still hung the wedding photo we spent so long choosing. Liu Ruyan in the photo was smiling radiantly, nestled in my arms, looking so happy. But now, that smile was filled with irony to me. Liu Ruyan and I had been together for 5 years. From university until we started working, everyone thought we were a match made in heaven. To get married, I used up half of my parents' life savings. I also took out all my own savings from work. We gathered 2.4 million yuan for the down payment. To buy this 140 square meter house, Liu Ruyan contributed 600,000. Because of that, she always said that we bought this house together. When we were decorating the house, she didn't care about anything. She was only responsible for making requests. I like the French cream style. It has to be really cozy, fan. My best friend said that imported flooring is very good. Let's use that for our house too. This crystal chandelier is so beautiful. It's a bit expensive, but you only get one wedding house in a lifetime. I didn't complain once. I tried my best to give her everything she wanted. For a whole year, I'd rush to the construction site right after work. On weekends, I'd spend all my time at the building materials market. I lost 10 kilo, and a lot of my hair turned gray. The day the house was finished, Liu Ruyan hugged me. She cried emotionally. Honey, you're so good to me. This is my dream house. I thought all my sacrifices were worth it, but I forgot that she always had a Song Ji by her side, a man who, in the name of a male best friend, acted as her soulmate. They could talk all night about movies and music, and I couldn't get a word in. They could argue over a small matter. Then Liu Ruyan would come crying to me to complain about Song Ji. A few days later, they'd make up as if nothing happened. When Song Ji had his heart broken, Liu Ruyan could run off to drink with him at midnight, leaving me at home alone. I raised my concerns more than once. Liu Ruyan's answer was always the same. Can you not be so petty? We're just friends. Your thoughts are so dirty. What he and I have is a pure friendship. If you don't trust me, then let's not get married. For the sake of the bigger picture, I gave in time and time again. I thought that once we were married, everything would get better. Until half a month ago, she told me she wanted to go to Tibet with Song Ji because Song Ji had been feeling lost in life recently. She wanted to go enlighten him. For the first time, I didn't compromise. Liu Ruyan, we're about to get married. It's not appropriate for you to travel alone with another man. What's not appropriate? We're going to purify our souls, not for the shady reasons you're thinking of. She immediately flew into a rage. So you want to come along? The three of us going together? What's the point of bringing you? Do you even understand what spiritual communion is? You just ruined the atmosphere. We had a huge fight that day. She slammed the door and left for her parents' house. 2 days later, she sent me a message. I've already booked the tickets. If you love me, you should support me. Then came today's social media post. A tent on a snowy mountain, shadows pressed close, a resonance of souls. A resonance of souls indeed. I walked up to the wedding photo, numbly took it down, and threw it in the trash. Then I started packing my things. I didn't have much. A few boxes of books, a few sets of clothes, and a laptop bag. In this house that I had poured countless efforts into, the traces of me were pathetically few. An hour later, Agent Brother Wang brought a photographer over. Seeing the empty living room and the wedding photo in the trash, a glint of understanding flashed in Brother Wang's eyes. He didn't ask anything, just patted my shoulder. Xiaolin, don't worry. I will definitely help you as quickly as possible and sell it for the most reasonable price. I nodded. Thank you, Brother Wang. After seeing them off, I pulled my suitcase and looked back at this house one last time. Goodbye to my former dream. Goodbye to my 5 foolish years. I closed the door and left without looking back. Tonight, I'll stay at a hotel. Tomorrow, I'll find a place to rent. As for Liu Ruyan, when she returns after purifying her soul, she'll get a big surprise. I took out my phone and saw Songji had made another new post. It was a landscape photo, but the location tag showed a local boutique hotel. I let out a cold laugh, purifying their souls, purifying them all the way to a double-bed hotel room. How impressive. I booked a room at a 5-star hotel, took a hot shower, and lay down on the large, soft bed. Only then did I feel like I had come back to life. For the past year, to save money for the mortgage, we had almost never eaten a meal out that cost more than 100 yuan, let alone stayed in a hotel. I pinched every penny thinking I would pay off the debt early and give Liu Ruyan a stable future. Thinking back on it now, it's truly laughable. The phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from my mother. "Son," the wedding company called, asking us about the color of the main wedding car. "Do we need to confirm?" I stared at those words, my heart aching. For our wedding, my parents had worried themselves sick. They had staked their lifelong reputation on me. But now, I took a deep breath. I replied, "Mom, the wedding is on hold for now." My mother's call came immediately, her tone anxious. "What's wrong, son? Did you argue with Ruyan?" Young couples fight at the head of the bed and make up at the foot. Just give in to her a little. "Mom, it's not as simple as just an argument." I tried to make my voice sound calm. "She went on a trip alone with another man." The other end of the line went silent. My mother knew Songji. She had even subtly reminded me before, telling me to pay more attention. After a long while, my mother finally sighed. "That Ruyan. So what are you planning to do? You sold the house, the wedding. We're not getting married." "What?" My mother's voice suddenly shot up. "Sold the house? But you poured your heart and soul into it." "Mom, don't worry about this. I'll handle it myself. The money. I won't let you and Dad lose anything. I'll pay back every single cent." I interrupted her, not wanting her to worry anymore. "It's not about the money. Son, you must be tired. Mom, I'll talk to you later." I hung up and buried my face in the pillow. To say I wasn't sad would be a lie. 5 years of love, a house I poured so much money into, a wedding that was just around the corner, all of it felt like a huge joke. But more than that, it was a relief, like pulling out a long, decayed tooth. Although the process was painful, after it was pulled, the whole world felt refreshed. Early the next morning, Brother Wang called me, his voice full of excitement. "Xiaolin, your house is a hot property. We got more than 10 viewing appointments in one morning, and there's a very sincere client who said they can come right away after seeing the photos and video. If they like it, they can put down a deposit today." That fast? I was a little surprised. "Your house has a good location, a good layout, and it's newly renovated. The price is also nearly 100,000 lower than the market rate. Of course it's a hot item," Brother Wang said with a laugh. "Is it convenient for you to come over? The client wants to talk to you in person." "Okay, I'm on my way." When I arrived at the house, a young couple was touring the inside. The wife was holding her husband's arm, her eyes sparkling. "Honey, I love this floor-to-ceiling window. The feeling of the sunlight streaming in, it's just wonderful." "Yeah, I like the decoration style too. It's very cozy." Seeing me, Brother Wang immediately came over and whispered, "It's them. This young couple is in urgent need and their family can help them pay in full." Very sincere. Pay in full? My heart stirred. Paying in full meant a quick process. Delays can bring complications, so it was best to resolve it as soon as possible. The couple was very polite when they saw me. The man extended his hand. "Hello. My surname is Zhang. We really like your house. It's just that, regarding the price." I said directly, "If you two can pay in full and sign the contract today, you'll lower the price by another 50,000. Brother Zhang and his wife looked at each other, both seeing the pleasant surprise in the other's eyes. "No problem." Brother Zhang decided on the spot. "We can go to the bank to transfer the deposit right now." Everything went smoother than I could have imagined. An hour later, we signed the deposit contract at the real estate agency. Brother Zhang paid a 200,000 deposit, and we agreed he would pay the full amount in 3 days and complete the transfer of ownership. I didn't hesitate from beginning to end. Walking out of the agency, the sunlight was a bit dazzling. I took out my phone. Liu Ruyan at 3 in the morning had sent me a WeChat message. "Why aren't you answering my messages? Are you sulking again? Lin Fan, can you be a little more mature?" I looked at those words and only felt the irony. Me? Mature? If I weren't mature when you told me you wanted to travel with your male best friend, I would have told you to get lost right then. If I weren't mature, when you posted that disgusting tent photo, I would have exposed your scandal to your company and let you be socially ostracized. I couldn't be bothered to reply. I just switched my phone to silent mode. For the next 2 days, I coordinated with Brother Zhang to handle various procedures, found a moving company, and packed Liu Ruyan's things to send to her parents' house. Her parents called, but I didn't answer. Liu Ruyan also made countless calls, sent hundreds of WeChat messages, from questioning to cursing, and then to acting weak. "Lin Fan, what on earth do you want? You sold the house. Where am I supposed to live? You're insane. Did you get my permission? I was wrong, okay? I'm coming back right now. Buy the house back, can you? I can't live without this house. Honey, I'm begging you. Our 5 years of love, are you really that heartless?" I looked at these messages, my heart completely still. A house? When you decided to sleep in the same tent with another man to purify your soul, this house was already gone. 3 days later, the full amount was in my account. Brother Zhang's family and I completed the final ownership transfer procedures, and they received the brand new property ownership certificate. It's just that the name on it no longer had anything to do with me. Walking out of the Land Administration Bureau, I transferred the commission to Brother Wang and sent him a large red envelope as well. Brother Wang, thank you. Xiaolin, you're being too formal. If you need anything in the future, just find me. I was about to hail a taxi to leave when a taxi screeched to a halt in front of me. It stopped. The car door opened and Liu Ruyan and Songji rushed out. Liu Ruyan's face, from altitude sickness and the long journey, looked a bit swollen and pale, but the fire in her eyes was almost about to erupt. She rushed in front of me, grabbed my collar, and roared. Lin Fan, give me back my house! Liu Ruyan's strength was surprisingly great, her nails digging deep into my collarbone. Her eyes looked like she wanted to eat me alive. Your house? I looked at her coldly, prying her hands off. When you crawled into the same tent with another man, your house was already gone. He and I did nothing, she screamed, her voice cracking with agitation. We just talked under the covers, that's all. Why don't you believe me? Just talked under the covers? I laughed until my chest hurt. Liu Ruyan, do you think I'm an idiot, or do you think you're particularly noble? I turned to Songji, who was standing behind her. Songji had an innocent look on his face, even a bit aggrieved. Lin Fan, you've misunderstood. Ruyan and I are really just friends. It was too cold on the snowy mountain that night. We were afraid of hypothermia, so we stayed in one tent. Nothing happened at all. He put on an I'm doing this for your own good act and continued. In Ruyan's heart, there's only you. She went with me because she wanted. One last chance to relax before the wedding. As a man, you should be more magnanimous. Magnanimous? I felt like I had heard the joke of the century. I emptied my family's savings, bought a house, renovated it so she could live in her dream house. Isn't that magnanimous enough? She went drinking with him in the middle of the night while I waited for her alone until morning. Isn't that magnanimous enough? You two flirt via text every day until midnight, treating our wedding house like your private club, and I didn't say a word. Isn't that magnanimous enough? With every sentence I spoke, I took a step forward, forcing Songzi back with my presence. Songzi, do you dare say in front of Liu Ruyan that you don't have a single impure thought about her? I stared him straight in the eyes. Song's eyes darted away, not daring to look at me directly, but his mouth still tried to force the words out. Of course I see her as a sister. A sister? I scoffed. Would you post a picture of you hugging your sister on social media with the caption soulmates? Would you, at 3 in the morning, send a provocative message to your sister's fiancé? My voice wasn't loud, but every word hit like a nail into the hearts of everyone present. Liu Ruyan's face instantly turned pale. She suddenly turned her head to look at Songzi. You messaged him? What did you send? Songzi's face was panicked. I was just joking with him a little, telling him not to overthink things. Joking? I took out my phone, opened that photo, and held it right in front of Liu Ruyan's face. In the photo, Songzi was hugging Liu Ruyan from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder, both of them smiling radiantly. The background was the large bed of a hotel room. The caption read, "Thanks, bro. Your wife is really something." When I saw that photo, I just felt the blood rush to my head. But I held back. I didn't reply because I knew arguing with this kind of person would only lower myself to his level. Now, this photo had become the final straw that broke the camel's back. Liu Ruyan's whole body was trembling. She looked at the photo, then at Songji, her lips quivering, unable to speak. Passers-by had started to gather around, pointing at them. My God, that guy is disgusting. This girl isn't any better. She's about to get married, but still goes traveling with her male best friend. Having her house sold serves her right. She brought this upon herself. Those whispers were like daggers stabbing into Liu Ruyan. She finally collapsed, slumping to the ground and crying loudly. It's not like that. It's not what you all think. Songzi, seeing the situation was bad, immediately tried to shift all the blame. Lin Fan, don't go too far. Ruyan is already like this, and you're still pushing her. It's all just a misunderstanding. He tried to step forward and pull me, wanting to play the role of the protector. I leaned back to dodge and kicked him in the stomach. I put all my strength into that kick. Song, she let out a groan, his whole body curling up like a shrimp as he fell to the ground, unable to get up for a long time. A misunderstanding? I looked down at him. Now you're telling me it's a misunderstanding? She destroyed my marriage, destroyed the family I once had, and now you tell me it's a misunderstanding? I walked step by step towards her, squatted down, and said in a voice only the two of us could hear, "Let me tell you, this is just the beginning. You like to play, don't you? He'll play with you until the very end." For a moment, I saw fear in her eyes. I stood up, not looking at them again. I nodded to the agent, Brother Wang, who was standing beside me stunned, and turned to leave. Lin Fan, Liu Ruyan suddenly scrambled up from the ground, rushed over, and hugged my leg. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Can you forgive me? Let's start over. Let's buy the house back. She was crying, tears and snot everywhere, her makeup completely ruined, with none of her usual delicate appearance left. We can't go back. Liu Ruyan. I calmly removed her hand. From the moment you decided to go with him, we were already over, weren't we? I don't want her to keep clinging to me and not letting go. I love you. Lin Fan, I can't live without you. It's not me you love. I looked at her, my eyes devoid of any warmth. You love the good things I do for you. You love the home I built for you. You love being able to brazenly enjoy my sacrifices while at the same time pursuing your so-called vague, ethereal soul connection. I've already sent all your things to your parents' house. And there's this. I took a bank card out of my pocket and stuffed it into her hand. There's $600,000 in here, the down payment you contributed that year. I'm returning every single cent to you. From now on, we owe each other nothing. After saying that, I forcefully broke free from her, hailed a taxi, and left decisively. Through the rearview mirror, I saw her collapse to the ground like a puppet whose strings had been cut. As for Songze, he staggered up from the ground, not even sparing her a glance, just wanting to flee. What a great show. The taxi driver looked at me through the rearview mirror and asked carefully, "Young man, are you all right?" I shook my head, leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. "Driver, to the nearest bank. The money from the house sale is on the card. Minus the loan, the $600,000 for Liu Ruyan, and the money to return to my parents. There's still over 2 million left. This is my capital to start over. My new life officially begins from this moment." At the bank, I divided the money on the card into several parts. 1 million into a fixed-term deposit as an emergency fund, and 500,000 transferred back to my parents. At first, my parents refused to take it. It was money for me to get married, and now that the wedding was off, they felt they couldn't accept it. I told them, "Mom, Dad, you have to take this money. It wasn't easy for you to raise me. I can't let you two worry about my affairs anymore. Now I'm alone and can take good care of myself. You two just take the money and spend it. Drink what you want to drink. Go travel. Don't always think about saving." Under my persistence, they finally accepted the remaining money. I planned to use it to start a small business. Having worked on construction sites for a year, I'd gained quite a bit of knowledge about the building materials and interior design industry, and also got to know some reliable suppliers and construction teams. This industry is murky, but the profits are also high. Before, it was to save money on decorating my own house. Now, perhaps I can turn it into my career. The apartment I rented is in a newly built residential building, a one-bedroom, one-living-room unit. The area isn't large, but it's more than enough for one person. I spent 2 days organizing the small space to be clean and tidy. No more French cream style, no more crystal chandeliers, just simple wooden furniture and a few green plants. But this place is what truly gives me a sense of belonging. That evening, I was looking up company registration information online when an unknown number called. I answered, and the shrill voice of a middle-aged woman came from the other end. "Lin Fan, you ungrateful wretch. Ah Ruyan, what did she do wrong to you, for you to treat her like this?" It was Liu Ruyan's mother. I held the phone a bit further away, waiting for her to finish screaming before speaking calmly. "Auntie, if you have something to say, just say it." "Something to say? You've ruined our Ruyan, and you still have the nerve to speak? She's at home washing her face with tears every day, can't even eat, and has lost so much weight. Are you satisfied now? Her being unable to eat is her own doing. I'm not the one who caused it." My voice was completely flat. When she insisted on going to Tibet with Songzi, if you, as parents, had just advised her against it, today's situation wouldn't have happened. Not only did you not advise against it, you even helped her hide it from me. Now that things have gone wrong, you come and blame me. Liu Ruyan's mother was choked up by my words, then became even angrier. "We trusted you, trusted that you were a magnanimous man. Who knew you'd be so petty, making such a big deal out of such a small thing?" "A small thing?" I laughed out of anger. "Auntie, in your eyes, is your daughter, about to get married, spending the night in a tent with another man, a small thing? Is your daughter's male best friend, sending her fiancé such humiliating photos, a small thing?" That was all a misunderstanding. That kid's Songzi just likes to joke around. If it's a misunderstanding, then tell your daughter to go that joker Songzi to take responsibility. Don't come looking for me. After saying that, I hung up and blocked the number. Saying one more word to this kind of unreasonable person is a waste of life. I thought that would be the end of it. But unexpectedly, the next day, Liu Ruyan's father came to the apartment building where I was renting. He looked much more haggard, with a lot more gray in his temples. "Lin Fan, I want to talk to you for a moment." I looked at him without a word, but I didn't let him come upstairs. We sat down on a planter downstairs. "Lin Fan, it's my fault for not raising my daughter properly." His opening words took me by surprise. He offered me a cigarette. I waved it away. He lit one for himself, took a deep drag, and then spoke slowly. "Ruyan has been spoiled by us since she was little, acting without thinking of the consequences. She was terribly wrong this time, and as her parents, we are also responsible." His attitude was very sincere, completely different from the confrontation I had expected. "But after all, she's been with you for 5 years. Your feelings for each other weren't fake. Can you see it in your heart to give her another chance? She truly knows she was wrong." I looked at his graying hair and pleading eyes. My heart wasn't entirely unmoved. But my reason told me I couldn't soften. A broken mirror can never be whole again. "Uncle, I'm sorry." I shook my head. Some mistakes can be forgiven, but some mistakes are about crossing a line. Once it's crossed, there's no going back. There's no longer a possibility between her and me. Liu Ruyan's father was silent for a long time, smoking one cigarette after another. Then the house. He began with difficulty. "Is there really no way to salvage it?" Ruyan really likes that house. Because of that house, I cut him off. Uncle, the house has been sold, the transfer is complete, and the money I've already split clearly according to our initial contributions. The 600,000, I've already transferred it to her card. A complex expression flashed across Father Lia's face, surprise, shame, and a hint of imperceptible disappointment. I see. He stubbed out his cigarette and stood up. Then take care of yourself. He walked away slowly, his back hunched. Watching his retreating figure, my heart was a mess of complicated feelings. Perhaps he's a good father, but he didn't teach his daughter about responsibility and boundaries. My phone buzzed. It was a good brother of mine, also my university classmate, Li Hao, sending a message. Fan, let's go out for drinks tonight. He'll introduce you to a big client. My spirits lifted immediately. Replied, okay, send the address. It's time for me to focus my energy on my career. That evening, I arrived at the appointed bar. Li Hao was in a lively conversation with a man who looked to be over 30. Fan, come here, let me introduce you. This is Director Zhao of the Hong Yuan Group. Li Hao introduced me enthusiastically. Hello, Director Zhao. I extended my hand. Director Zhao looked me up and down, shook my hand, and said with a smile, you must be Shaolin, right? I hear from Li Hao that you're very skilled in interior design. I wouldn't say skilled. I just worked on one house myself, so I know a little bit, I replied humbly. Director Zhao waved his hand dismissively. Recently, I bought a plot of land in the suburbs, built a dozen or so villas, and I'm preparing for a high-end homestay project. Now I have a headache with the decoration. I've looked at several design firms, but I'm not satisfied with any of their proposals. My heart skipped a beat. A high-end homestay project? This is a big order. I wonder if Director Zhao has any specific requirements for the decoration? I asked probingly. Just 2 words. Unique, Director Zhao said. I want each villa to have its own one-of-a-kind style. It should make guests feel at home, but more refined and interesting than home. Budget is not an issue. The issue is creativity. My mind immediately started racing. Over the past year, I've looked at countless interior design examples and studied various styles. The French cream style that Liu Ruyan liked was actually just a small fraction of them. I could absolutely design based on the characteristics of each villa, with Chinese Zen, Nordic minimalist industrial, bohemian, and other different themes. Director Zhao, I have a rough idea. I wonder if you'd like to hear it? Let's hear it. Director Zhao showed interest. For the next hour, I laid out the ideas in my head, combining them with the materials and construction techniques I knew, detailing them one by one. I talked until my throat was dry, while Director Zhao and Li Hao listened with sparkling eyes. After I finished speaking, Director Zhao slapped his thigh. Xiaolin, you're the person I've been looking for. Don't bother with a small company. Just come work for me. I'll set up an interior design subsidiary for you. You'll be the CEO, and I'll give you 20% of the shares with no capital investment. How about it? I was stunned. Happiness came so suddenly, I even suspected I was dreaming. Set up a company for me and give me 20% of the shares for free? But before I could recover from the shock, a sudden commotion erupted at the bar's entrance. A familiar figure stumbled in, heading straight for our table. It was Liu Ruyan. She was dead drunk, reeking of alcohol, with her hair in a mess. Seeing me, her eyes immediately turned red. Lin Fan, I finally found you. She lunged forward to hug me, but I sidestepped and she missed. She stumbled into empty space and fell to the ground. Why wouldn't you see me? Why wouldn't you answer my calls? She lay sprawled on the floor, wailing and screaming, causing everyone in the bar to look over. Director Zhao frowned, looking at me. My scalp went numb. Is this woman trying to completely humiliate me? This is... Director Zhao's voice was a little displeased. My ex-girlfriend, I replied without expression, then squatted down to try and pull Liu Ruyan up. Liu Ruyan, you're drunk. Let me take you home. I'm not going back. Liu Ruyan pushed my hand away, grabbing my pant leg, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Lin Fan, don't leave me. I really know I was wrong. I can't live without you. She looked just like a resentful, abandoned woman, causing the surrounding people to whisper and gossip even more. Li Hao hurried over to mediate. Sister-in-law Liu Ruyan, please get up first. Let's talk things over calmly. Don't disturb everyone here. Get lost. Liu Ruyan shoved Li Hao away and pointed at me, crying to the onlookers. Everyone, look, it's this man. He abandoned our 5 years of love for another woman. He sold our wedding house and kicked me out. He's a heartless jerk. Her words were like a bomb exploding in the bar. Everyone's eyes turned to me, filled with contempt and condemnation. Director Zhao's expression completely darkened. I was shaking with anger. My chest felt like it was being crushed by a large rock. I've seen shameless people before, but never someone this shameless, twisting black into white, playing the victim. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I looked at Liu Ruyan making a scene on the floor and said, word by word, Liu Ruyan, are you sure you want to air all our dirty laundry here? My voice wasn't loud, but it carried an icy chill. Liu Ruyan was stunned by my gaze. Her crying softened, but she still muttered, it was your fault to begin with. Fine. I nodded, took out my phone, and opened a video. It was surveillance footage I had installed in the living room of our wedding house. I originally installed it for anti-theft and to check on the renovation progress. I had deleted it, but before selling the house, for some reason, I backed up a few clips. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to disturb you. I held up my phone and turned the volume all the way up. If my ex-girlfriend says I'm a heartless jerk, then it'll let everyone see just how this jerk was pushed to his limit. The video started to play. The first scene was Liu Ruyan and Songji on the living room sofa. Ruyan, do you really want to marry Lin Fan? He's so dull, he doesn't deserve you at all. Songji's voice came out clearly. I can't help it, he's good to me, and besides, the house is already bought. Liu Ruyan's voice carried a hint of helplessness. Good to you? That's just materially. Your soul is lonely. Only I understand you, Songji said as he took Liu Ruyan's hand. Liu Ruyan didn't pull her hand back, instead leaning on his shoulder. Sometimes I really want to throw everything away and be with you. Then let's go. I'll take you to Tibet, to a place where no one knows us, to purify our souls. The bar fell dead silent. Everyone stared, stunned, at the phone screen, then looked at Liu Ruyan on the floor. Liu Ruyan's face instantly went pale, as white as a sheet of paper. I didn't stop, and continued to play the second video. It was from the night before they left for Tibet when I went to work overtime after an argument. In the video, Songji brazenly entered the house and kissed Liu Ruyan on the sofa, his hands already starting to wander. Don't. Not here. Lin Fan will be back. Liu Ruyan was half resisting, half complying. What's there to be afraid of? He's an idiot. You have him wrapped around your little finger. Songji laughed and kissed her more deeply. With a roar, the bar completely erupted. Damn, this is so juicy. This is truly mind-blowing. This girl is disgusting. That best friend is no good either. Stealing his brother's girl. The contemptuous looks I had received earlier now all turned into disdain and scorn for Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan was completely dumbfounded. She stared blankly at my phone, her mouth agape enough to fit an egg, but she couldn't make a sound. Perhaps even in her dreams, she never expected her most private, most ugly side would be exposed by me in this way. Liu Ruyan. I turned off the video and looked down at her from above. Now do you still think I'm the heartless one? She pointed at me, shaking with anger. You dared to monitor me, you pervert. I'm a pervert? I laughed. If I weren't a bit of a pervert, would I have to wear the green hat you gave me, walk down the aisle with you, and then use the money I earned to support you and your soulmate? Liu Ruyan was speechless, only able to lie on the ground and let out desperate sobs. I paid her no more mind and turned to the astonished directors Zhao and Li Hao, bowing my head. Sorry, I've made a fool of myself in front of you. Director Zhao came to his senses. Not only was there no displeasure on his face, but there was even a hint of admiration. He walked over and patted me hard on the shoulder. Xiaolin, well done. A man should be this decisive. He glanced at Liu Ruyan, who was like a pile of mud on the floor, his eyes full of contempt. With this kind of woman, the sooner you cut ties, the better. Rest assured, what I just said still stands. Report to my company tomorrow. The CEO position of the subsidiary interior design company is yours. A wave of emotion surged through me, leaving me too excited to speak. Thank you, Director Zhao. I definitely won't let you down. Li Hao also came over and punched me on the shoulder. Not bad, you kid. I thought you'd be down for a while, but I didn't expect you to be so tough. I'm impressed. I smiled. The resentment in my heart vanished at that moment. As I was about to leave with Director Zhao and the others, Liu Ruyan suddenly scrambled up from the floor as if she'd gone mad and charged at Director Zhao. It's all your fault. It's all your fault, you old man. You want to steal my line fan? I'll fight you to the death. She lunged forward with her claws out, aiming for Director Zhao's face. My expression changed, and without a thought, I stepped forward and stood in front of Director Zhao. With a ripping sound, Liu Ruyan's nails gouged several deep, bloody scratches into my arm. It stung sharply. Have you gone crazy enough? I grabbed Liu Ruyan's wrist and threw her off forcefully. Liu Ruyan staggered back a few steps, bumped into a table, and the bottles on the table, the glasses, all shattered. She looked at the bloody scratches on my arm, stunned, a flash of panic in her eyes. The bar security guards finally reacted, rushing over, and several of them restrained the struggling Liu Ruyan. Sir, should we call the police? The head of security asked me. I looked at the pathetic Liu Ruyan, then at the grim-faced Director Zhao and shook my head. Just throw her out. It's better not to air dirty laundry in public. Getting the police involved won't do me or Director Zhao any good. The guards held the still screaming and struggling Liu Ruyan and dragged her out of the bar like a dead dog. The world was finally quiet. Director Zhao, I'm truly sorry. I clutched my arm and apologized to Director Zhao again. Are you okay, Xiaolin? Director Zhao looked at my wound with concern. Quick, Li Hao, go get the first aid kit. Li Hao hurried to find the first aid kit. I quickly disinfected it with alcohol and put on a bandage. It's just a flesh wound, I'm fine, I said, pretending to be relaxed. Xiao Zhao sighed and patted my shoulder. You've been wronged, but this incident shows that you're not just talented, kid, but you're also responsible. You knew to protect this old man in a crisis. I wasn't wrong about you. My heart warmed. You are my boss, my benefactor. Protecting you is what I should do. This kid really knows how to talk. Xiao Zhao laughed heartily. All right, it's late today. You should go home and rest. Come find me at the group headquarters tomorrow. We'll discuss the contract. Yes, sir. After seeing Xiao Zhao off, Li Hao put his arm around my shoulder, looking like he was itching for gossip. Not bad, Fonzai. You really can't judge a book by its cover. To have such a powerful weapon up your sleeve, that was seriously cool back there. I gave a bitter laugh. What's so cool about it? I was just pushed into a corner. But still, speaking of which, how did Liu Ruyan find this place? Li Hao asked curiously. I found it strange too. I had moved and hadn't told anyone. How did she know I was here? I took out my phone and saw a few missed calls, all from an unknown number. I called back. After a few rings, a timid female voice answered. Hello, is this Lin Fan? Speaking. And you are? I am Liu Ruyan's colleague. My name is Sun Miao. I was the one who tipped off Liu Ruyan. I'm sorry. I frowned. How did you know I was here? I'm best friends with Li Hao's girlfriend. I heard her say tonight that you guys would be gathering here, so Sun Miao's voice grew softer. I understood immediately. This Sun Miao was usually on the best terms with Liu Ruyan. The two of them often gossiped. Why did you do it? I asked coldly. I just felt that Liu Ruyan was so pitiful, and I wanted to help her. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Help her? I sneered. Were you helping her, or did you want to watch my downfall? Or rather, did Liu Ruyan tell you to do this? The other end of the line went silent. The answer was obvious. Liu Ruyan knew that Li Hao and I were close, so she mobilized all the connections around him to find out my whereabouts. She didn't come to beg for a reconciliation. She came to destroy me. She knew I was in the startup phase of my career and wanted to make me lose face in front of my new boss, to leave me with nothing, preferably to rot in the mud with me. This woman's heart is truly vicious. Sun Miao, right? I've memorized this name. Go tell Liu Ruyan her goal has been achieved. She has succeeded in disgusting me. But also please tell her, the game has just begun. I hung up, my eyes as cold as ice. Originally, I just wanted to break up peacefully with her, a clean break, with no ties thereafter. But time and time again, she has challenged my limits. If she's going to be ruthless, then she can't blame me for being unjust. The next day, I went to the Hongyuan Group headquarters in high spirits. CEO Zhao's office was on the top floor with an excellent view overlooking more than half the city. You're here. Have a seat. CEO Zhao pointed to the sofa and his secretary poured me a cup of tea. CEO Zhao pushed a pre-drafted contract in front of me. See if there are any problems, and we can discuss them. I picked up the contract and examined it carefully. The position was CEO of Hongyuan Group's newly established subsidiary, Hongyuan Home Interior Decoration Engineering Co., Ltd., with full responsibility for the company's operations and management. The salary was 500,000 yuan a year plus project commissions. Most importantly, CEO Zhao had actually given me 20% in dry share, which was stated very clearly. This contract was truly a windfall from heaven for me. CEO Zhao, this contract is too generous. I'm afraid No need to be afraid. CEO Zhao cut me off. When I hire people, first I look at ability, and second, I look at character. Your ability, I saw that night. Your character, I also saw last night. I trust my own judgment. The company is new, so the initial stage will be quite tough. Business registration, team building, and business development will all need to be handled by you. I'll only give you one goal. Within 1 year, make Hongyuan Home the benchmark of the city's high-end decoration market. Any problem with that? CEO Zhao looked at me. I folded the contract, stood up, and bowed deeply before him. No problem. I guarantee I will complete the mission. Leaving CEO Zhao's office, the gloom of the past vanished completely. The future was a stretch of brightness. I was preparing to go downstairs for the onboarding process when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a voice came through, seething with rage. Lin Fan, you bastard! How dare you hit Songzi? Hit! I scoffed. I kicked, not hit. What? Is the injury not serious? You can still call and curse people out. You just wait. Songzi roared on the other end of the line. You humiliated me like that. This isn't over. Let me tell you, Liu Ruyan is at my place right now, making a scene and threatening suicide because of you. If you have any conscience left, then get over here and apologize to her. Threatening suicide? I almost burst out laughing. Someone as supremely selfish as Liu Ruyan would threaten suicide over me? She only knows how to throw a tantrum over what she's lost. If she's threatening suicide, you should call for an ambulance, not me. Besides, her being at your place isn't that what you wanted. Congratulations, you can finally be her soulmate openly and honorably. Song. She was rendered speechless by my words. One more thing. I changed my tone, which became colder. Don't bother me with this again. Next time, it won't be just a simple kick. I hung up, not bothering to waste any more words on him. This kind of dancing clown isn't worth my time. The following week, I devoted all my energy to the work of the new company. Registering the company, leasing office space, recruiting staff. Everything was starting from scratch. I was so busy I barely had my feet on the ground, even having to skimp on time for eating and sleeping. But this feeling of fulfillment brought me unprecedented satisfaction. Li Hao helped me a lot. His family is in human resources, so he introduced me to several experienced designers and project managers. CEO Zhao also supported me greatly. Capital, resources, as long as I asked, he would approve without hesitation. Half a month later, Hongyuan Home officially opened for business. The office space was selected in a high-end office building, decorated in a simple yet stylish manner, exuding a sense of design everywhere. On opening day, CEO Zhao personally came to cut the ribbon, and he also invited many friends from the business and media circles. The ceremony was quite grand. As the CEO, I went on stage to give a speech. Looking at the flashing camera lights and the expectant faces below the stage, I was filled with vigor. I thanked CEO Zhao for his recognition, outlined the company's development philosophy, and painted a grand vision for the future. At this moment, I was no longer the small, pathetic man broken by love, but an entrepreneur in control of his own career and future. After the ceremony ended, as I was entertaining guests, the appearance of an uninvited guest shattered the harmonious atmosphere. Liu Ruyan's mother brought 7 or 8 relatives and stormed in aggressively. "Lin Fan, you heartless scum, get out here!" Her shout attracted everyone's attention. I frowned, signaling for security, not to act rashly, and stepped forward myself. "Auntie, today is my company's grand opening. If you have something to say, let's talk privately. Could you please not make a scene here?" I tried to restrain my anger. "Talk privately? Today, I'm going to expose your true face, in front of everyone." Liu Ruyan's mother pointed at my nose, spittle flying everywhere. "You're rich now. You've latched onto a high branch, so you kick my Ruyan to the curb. Are you worthy of the 5 years of her youth? Are you worthy of our trust?" The relatives behind her also chimed in. Truly an ungrateful, white-eyed wolf. "Without Liu Ruyan, would you be where you are today, kicking away the ladder after you've climbed it? Everyone, come and see. This boss is abandoning his loyal wife." With them causing such a ruckus, the scene immediately descended into chaos. The journalists, like sharks smelling blood, raised their cameras and phones one after another, snapping photos of us furiously. The expression on CEO Zhao's face turned very ugly. I sneered inwardly. Liu Ruyan didn't dare to come herself, so she sent her mother with a bunch of clueless relatives to cause trouble. This move was vicious enough and stupid enough. They thought that by using public pressure they could make me submit and ruin my reputation. Unfortunately, they miscalculated. I didn't react as they expected, panicking or flying into a rage. I just calmly looked at Liu Ruyan's mother and slowly spoke. "You say I've wronged Liu Ruyan? May I ask where I've wronged her?" She was momentarily speechless. Did I tell her to travel to Tibet with her male best friend and even sleep in the same tent? Did I tell her to embrace her male best friend in our wedding suite and call me a fool? Or did I tell her male best friend to send me those unsightly photos to humiliate me? With every question I asked, Liu Ruyan's mother's face grew a shade paler. The guests and journalists around us let out gasps of shock. Apparently, the video incident at the bar hadn't spread widely yet. Today, I would let everyone know the truth. "Auntie, you say I abandoned my loyal wife. May I ask when Liu Ruyan became my wife? We haven't even had the wedding ceremony. Furthermore, a woman who betrays her fiancé before marriage, is she worthy of the words loyal wife? You say I'm ungrateful. May I ask what kindness if forgotten? What faith if betrayed? Did I forget her 600,000 yuan down payment? Sorry, I've already returned that money to her, with interest. Or did I forget the trust your family placed in me? Trusting me so much that you helped her deceive me?" My voice was sharp and firm, reverberating throughout the hall. Liu Ruyan's mother was questioned by me until she was speechless, her face turning from white to green and from green to purple. The relatives behind her also exchanged glances, not daring to speak up anymore. Friends from the media, I turned to the journalists and smiled. "I know you want a story, no problem. I'll give you one." I took out my phone and sent the surveillance videos and the photo songs he sent me directly via bulk transfer through Bluetooth to all the journalists present. I've given it all to you. You can come up with the headlines yourselves. For example, the night before the wedding, the soul connection of the bride and her male best friend. Or, male best friend of the year, sleeps with your wife and you still have to thank him for his generosity. What do you think? The journalists all went wild, each one looking down at their phones, their faces filled with excitement and astonishment. They knew that tonight, they already had a front-page story. Seeing this, Liu Ruyan's mother finally realized what a foolish thing she had done. She didn't come to help her daughter vent, she came to nail her own daughter to the pillar of shame. "You're a devil." She pointed at me, trembling with anger. "I'm not a devil. I'm just an ordinary person who was pushed to the brink and fought back." I put away my phone and looked at her coldly. "Go back and tell Liu Ruyan. She brought this upon herself. She wanted to ruin my reputation, so it'll make her infamous for eternity. And as for you all," I glanced at the group of relatives, "don't come bother me again. Otherwise, next time, it won't be as simple as just letting you stand here." My gaze carried a hint of warning, and those people shrank back in fear. "Security!" I called out. "Please escort the people who are affecting our company's image out." The security guards immediately stepped forward and escorted Liu Ruyan's mother and her relatives, half pushing, half pulling them out of the office building. The chaotic drama finally came to an end. I turned and bowed to all the guests. My apologies for making everyone watch a family ethics drama. The opening ceremony will continue. Today, all expenses are on me. The guests broke out into good-natured laughter and applause. CEO Zhao came over, gave me a firm pat on the back, his eyes full of admiration. "Well done. Let's see who dares to gossip now." I smiled, but there was no joy in my heart. Using this method to tear open my ugliest wound for everyone to see was actually a form of self-harm. But to completely escape that, family, it was worth it. I thought that everything had come to a complete end, that Liu Ruyan and Song Zi would disappear from my world, like rats scurrying across the street. But I never expected it. Hello, is this Mr. Lin Fan? We are the police from the West City Precinct. Your ex-girlfriend, Liu Ruyan, jumped from the rooftop of the apartment complex where you used to live. She is currently being treated in the hospital's emergency room. She left a suicide note accusing you of driving her to her death. The moment I received the call, my mind went blank. Liu Ruyan had jumped off a building and even left a suicide note saying I drove her to her death. It was absurd, shocking, and a mix of indescribably complex emotions immediately welled up inside me. Officer, are you mistaken? I forced myself to be calm. We've already broken up. What does her jumping off a building have to do with me? Mr. Lin Fan, we are just notifying you as per procedure. Your name is written in the suicide note, so we need you to come in and cooperate with the investigation. The voice on the other end of the line was completely impartial. All right, I'll be right there. I hung up. I immediately called CEO Zhao and briefly explained the situation. CEO Zhao told me not to panic, saying he would immediately arrange for the company's legal department to accompany me. Half an hour later, the company's lawyer Wang and I met at the entrance of the West City Police Station. Stepping into the police station, a solemn atmosphere washed over me. Liu Ruyan's parents were both there, as was Song Zi. Liu Ruyan's mother, as soon as she saw me, lunged forward like a madwoman, scratching and hitting me. You're a murderer! Give me back my daughter! Give Ruyan back to me! Two police officers quickly pulled her away. Liu Ruyan's father's eyes were bloodshot, and he stared at me intently. That gaze looked like it wanted to drill 2 holes through my body. Song. She stood to the side, his face pale, his gaze evasive, not daring to look at me. Mr. Lin Fan, please come with us for a moment. An officer led me into an interrogation room, with lawyer Wang following behind. The police officer pushed a printed document in front of me. This is the suicide note left by Miss Liu Ruyan. Please take a look. I picked up the paper, my hands trembling slightly. To Lin Fan, the one I love most. When you read this letter, I will no longer be in this world. Forgive me for using this method to prove my love for you. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have gone to Tibet with Song Zi. I shouldn't have said those hurtful things to you. But I really do love you. Those memories from our 5 years together, have you really forgotten them all? I thought that as long as I turned back, you would be there waiting for me. But I never expected you to be so cruel. You sold our home, humiliated me in front of everyone, and drove me into a corner. Now your company has opened. You've become a big boss. You must have a younger, more beautiful girl by your side. Did you want to get rid of me a long time ago? The Tibet trip was just an excuse you arranged long ago. Lin Fan, you are so cruel. I'm leaving now, taking all my love and disappointment in you with me. I use my life to curse you so that you live your whole life in guilt and never find happiness. Your loving Ruyan. After reading this letter, I was trembling all over with anger. What a suicide note, twisting black and white, what a venomous curse. Even in death, she wanted to sling mud at me, to brand me with the crime of driving my ex-girlfriend to her death, so I would have to bear this moral shackle for the rest of my life. This woman is truly terrifying. Mr. Lin Fan, regarding the contents of this suicide note, do you have anything to say? The police officer's expression was very stern. It's all lies. I replied coldly. I didn't drive her to her death. She brought death upon herself. I recounted the entire process from when Liu Ruyan and I met to when we broke up, including the matter with her and Song Zi, and her mother coming to my company to cause trouble, the process of me releasing the video, recounting it all from beginning to end. Lawyer Wang added from the side, Officer, my client and Miss Liu Ruyan no longer have any legal relationship. Miss Liu Ruyan was a person with full capacity for civil conduct. Her act of suicide was her own choice, the consequences of which should not be borne by my client. This suicide note is full of subjective speculation and emotional guidance, cannot be used as evidence to determine that my client is at fault. The police officer nodded and took notes in his notebook. What about Song Zi? The police officer suddenly asked. When Liu Ruyan jumped, where was he? I was stunned for a moment. That's right. Where was Song Zi? Wasn't Liu Ruyan at his house making a scene? Why did she run to our old apartment building to jump? We need to find Mr. Song Zi to understand the situation, the police officer said as he stood up and walked out. Lawyer Wang and I waited in the interrogation room. About 20 minutes later, the police officer from before returned. His expression was a bit strange. The situation might not be what you think, he said. We've pulled the surveillance footage from the apartment complex. Liu Ruyan took a taxi to the apartment complex alone. She went straight to the rooftop. She was on the rooftop for about an hour, during which she was constantly on the phone. We checked her call history. The last call was to Song Zi, and the call duration was 40 minutes. My heart tightened. The last call was to Song Zi. What did they talk about? We've brought Song Zi to another interrogation room. The police officer looked at me and said slowly. At first, he refused to say anything. It wasn't until we told him that this could involve criminal liability that he finally opened his mouth. He said Liu Ruyan called him, saying that if he wasn't with her, she would jump off the building. Songja felt that Liu Ruyan was threatening him. He didn't want to get dragged down by her, so he said some provocative things to her. What things? I pressed, and the police officer sighed. He said, if you want to jump, then jump. Just die. Then you won't have to bother me anymore. You think I really like you? I was just playing with you. Who told you to be so gullible? Lin Fan, that fool, doesn't want you anymore. You think he'll pick up his leftovers? Dream on. After saying those words, he hung up. After Liu Ruyan hung up, she jumped less than a minute later. I froze completely after hearing that. It turns out the last straw that broke Liu Ruyan wasn't me, but the soulmate she had always trusted, Songja. How ironic. She thought she had him in the palm of her hand, that she could threaten Songji, but in the end, both men tossed her aside like a worn-out shoe. She gambled with her life, and in the end, she lost miserably. I don't know whether to say she was pitiful or hateful. Lawyer Wang beside me sharply grasped the key point. Officer, in that case, Songja's actions already show signs of constituting manslaughter. The police officer nodded. We are currently investigating in that direction. If the investigation confirms it, he will have to bear the corresponding legal responsibility. As I walked out of the interrogation room, I saw Songji, limp as a pile of mud, being dragged out of another room by 2 police officers. His face was ashen, his eyes were empty, and his mouth was constantly muttering. It wasn't me, I didn't kill her. She wanted to jump herself. Liu Ruyan's parents had also heard the news. They rushed at Songji, hitting and cursing him. It was you. You killed my daughter. You're an animal. I want you to pay for my daughter's life with your own. The police station was in chaos. I stood outside the crowd, coldly watching all of this unfold. A drama that began with betrayal and deceit finally ended with the death of one person and another going to jail, coming to a close. And I, the victim who was dragged into it, could finally, completely escape this nightmare. 2 days later, the hospital reported that Liu Ruyan's injuries were too severe, and she died after resuscitation efforts failed. And Songji, on suspicion of manslaughter, was officially placed under criminal detention. The sky fell for the Liu family. When the news of Liu Ruyan's death arrived, I didn't feel the relief I had imagined. Instead, my heart felt heavy. A living person just gone like that, even though she had done many wrong things, her sins weren't worthy of death. I locked myself in my apartment, not going out all day. I didn't go to her funeral. I didn't want to go, and I also felt there was no need to go. It would only agitate her parents more, and it would only make myself sink back into that mud pit. I transferred them some money, an anonymous transfer to her father's account. Not much, 100,000 yuan. Consider it the end of the last bit of affection between us. Just consider it me paying for her funeral expenses. This incident also caused a stir online. On the day my company opened, the news published by the journalists had already made Liu Ruyan and Songji social outcasts once. Now that Liu Ruyan had jumped and Songji was arrested, it ignited a nationwide online discussion. Public opinion was divided into several camps. Some said I was too cruel, pushing my ex-girlfriend to a dead end, and that I was a cyberbully. Some said Liu Ruyan brought it on herself, not deserving of pity, cheating before marriage. Her death was not regrettable. Others pointed the finger at Songji, saying he was the real culprit, toying with emotions and inciting suicide. And some people started discussing the issue of the boundaries for best friends of the opposite sex. For a time, opinions were divided. The public relations department of Hongyuan Group reacted very quickly, immediately issuing a statement. In the statement, they took an objective and neutral stance, clarifying the fact that I and Liu Ruyan had broken up long ago and emphasized that Liu Ruyan's suicide was a tragedy caused by multiple factors, urging netizens to look at it rationally and not to personally attack me. CEO Zhao also personally called to comfort me. Don't let the outside rumors affect your focus on work. Mouths belong to other people. Let them say what they want. We do our own work. An upright tree does not fear a crooked shadow. I was very grateful in my heart. In the darkest moment of my life, it was CEO Zhao who gave me a helping hand. I will engrave this kindness in my heart and bones. I forced myself to break free from negative emotions and threw all my energy into my work. The first project of Hongyuan Home Furnishing was CEO Zhao's dozen or so high-end homestays. My team and I stayed at the construction site day and night, from finalizing the design plan to purchasing materials and then supervising the construction. I personally participated in every step. I treated these dozen villas as my own children. I wanted to turn them into my masterpiece, to make everyone who saw them gasp in amazement. During this time, Liu Ruyan's father gave me a call. His voice was old and tired. Lin Fan, I've received the money. Thank you. Uncle, please accept my condolences. I didn't know what to say. We're planning to sell the house and leave this city. He paused for a moment and then said, there are too many painful memories here. That's good too. Regarding Songji, we've hired a lawyer to sue him for intentional homicide. We don't need compensation. We just want him to pay with his life. His voice radiated bone-deep hatred. I was silent. I could understand his feelings. A white-haired person sending off a black-haired person, his only daughter dying in such a disgraceful way. They had poured all their hatred onto Songja. Lin Fan, I'm sorry. On the other end of the line, he suddenly said, we were wrong to you before. This belated apology made my nose sting. It's all in the past. Uncle, you two take care of yourselves. After hanging up, I stood in the empty, unfinished villa, looking at the sunset outside the window, and let out a long sigh. Everything should be over now. Half a year later, the homestay project in the suburbs was finally completed. The dozen or so villas, each with a different style, were yet harmoniously unified. The tranquility of a Chinese-style courtyard, the romance of a Mediterranean style, the rawness of an industrial style, the zen-like delicacy of a Japanese style, every single one was a work of art. Xiao Zhao brought the senior management of the group to visit, and everyone was stunned. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. An excited Xiao Zhao patted my shoulder. Xiaolin, you've given me a huge surprise. This is 100 times better than I imagined. This isn't just a homestay. This is a new calling card for our city. As soon as the homestay project was launched, it immediately exploded in the market. On all major social media platforms, there were check-ins for Hung-Yuan Home Furnishing, with pictures and videos, and booking orders soared. In less than a month, the rooms for the next 6 months were fully booked. Hung-Yuan Home Furnishing became famous overnight, and business for the company kept pouring in. High-end residences, boutique hotels, specialty restaurants. My team grew bigger and bigger, and I became busier and busier. At the year-end celebration party, I was the company's biggest contributor and was invited by Xiao Zhao to the main table. After 3 rounds of drinks, flushed Xiao Zhao said to me, Xiaolin, giving you 20% of the dry shares at the beginning now seems to be the wisest investment of my life. The company's CFO laughed and said from the side, Director Lin's commission alone this year is already in the 7 figures. Our company was established less than a year ago, and its market value has increased tenfold. Director Lin's value has also soared. I raised my glass to toast Xiao Zhao. Without Xiao Zhao's support, I wouldn't be where I am today. Don't say that. Gold will always shine. Xiao Zhao took a sip of wine, suddenly changed the subject. Xiaolin, now that your career is successful, you should also consider your personal matters. He pointed to a girl in an evening gown not far away, a graceful and beautiful girl. That's my daughter, Zhao Qingya. She just returned from studying abroad and is currently working in the group's marketing department. You young people should get to know each other more. I looked in the direction he pointed, and Zhao Qingya happened to look over as well, giving me a polite smile. My heart stirred slightly, and I also smiled and nodded at her. After the party ended, I was preparing to leave when Zhao Qingya called out to me. Director Lin. She walked up to me and handed me a glass of warm water. You drank so much alcohol, drink some water to sober up. Thank you. I took the glass. Her fingertips accidentally brushed against my hand, warm like jade. I've heard a lot about you from my father. She looked at me, her eyes clear. I really admire you. Xiao Zhao is too kind. I was a little embarrassed. It's not an exaggeration, it's the truth. She smiled. The moonlight shone on her face, making her look incredibly captivating. A person who can crawl out of a mud pit and still build such a successful career deserves anyone's admiration. We stood on the hotel rooftop, enjoying the night breeze, chatting casually. From work to life, from domestic to foreign topics. I discovered that she was not only beautiful, but also knowledgeable and eloquent. Chatting with her was incredibly comfortable. Compared to the shallow relationship, built on demands like the one with Liu Ruyan, this was completely different. This was a communication between equals, based on mutual admiration. Oh right. She seemed to remember something and took a piece of paper from her bag, a court summons, and handed it to me. My dad asked me to give this to you. I doubtfully took it, opened it, and was stunned. It was Songji's family suing me. They were suing me for infringing on the right to reputation and privacy of Songji, demanding a public apology, and 1 million yuan in compensation for emotional distress. The reason was that the videos and photos I published caused Songji to be socially ostracized and indirectly led to him being criminally detained. Looking at the summons in my hand, I only felt it was absurd and ridiculous. What's wrong with Songji's family's brains? Their son is detained on suspicion of manslaughter, and they're not thinking about how to get the victim's family's forgiveness, get a lighter sentence, but instead, they're suing me, a victim. Are they crazy? I couldn't help but say it out loud. Zhao Qingya looked at me, with a hint of sympathy in her eyes. I heard from the company's legal department. Songji's parents have used all their connections, trying to get him out, but Liu Ruyan's parents are holding on tight, refusing to settle, and demanding he be severely punished. They've probably run out of options and want to find a breakthrough with you. Fishing in troubled waters. Fishing in troubled waters. I sneered. Do they think they own the court? Don't worry. Zhao Qingya comforted me, my dad said. The company will hire the best lawyer to help you with this case. Their frivolous lawsuit has no chance of winning. I nodded and put the summons away. Even though I knew they couldn't win, I still felt sick to my stomach, like I'd swallowed a fly. This family is just like Songji, without limits, without shame, truly disgusting. Thank you, Qingya. I looked at her and said sincerely, You're welcome. She smiled. Go home and rest early. You have a meeting tomorrow. The next day, the company's lawyer Wang came to see me. She had already prepared for the Song family's lawsuit, all the defense documents. Director Lin, rest assured, we will definitely win this case, Lawyer Wang said confidently. The videos and chat logs you published, although related to Song's privacy, your purpose was to clarify the truth, to protect your own reputation, which falls under reasonable use. Moreover, the direct reason for his detention is that he bears undeniable responsibility for Liu Ruyan's death. There's no direct causal relationship with you publishing the video. The court will not support their extortion-like litigation request. Then I'll have to trouble you, Lawyer Wang. I won't go on the day of the trial. I don't want to see the faces of the Song family anymore. I authorized lawyer Wang to handle everything. As for me, I led the team and flew to another city to survey a new project. It was an ancient town renovation project. The local government hoped that we could turn a declining ancient town to a distinctive town that integrates culture, tourism, and residents. This project was larger in scale than the previous homestay project and also more challenging. I was very interested in it. My team and I stayed in the ancient town for more than half a month, walking through every alley, visiting every old artisan, and looking up a lot of historical documents. When I brought back a thick preliminary plan, full of detailed data and creative ideas, back to the company, lawyer Wang found me immediately. "Director Lin, we won," she said with a smile. "The court has dismissed all of the Song family's claims." I nodded. This result was within my expectations. They didn't cause any more trouble, did they? They did. Lawyer Wang said they made a scene right in court, saying the court was unfair and that you had bribed them. The judge warned them twice, then had the bailiffs drag them out. I heard Song's case is about to be decided. The prosecutor's recommended sentence is 5 years. 5 years. For a woman who didn't love him, for a slip of the tongue, he had to pay the price of 5 years of freedom? I don't know. I only know that this name will disappear from my world forever. After dealing with the trouble from the Song family, I poured all my energy into the Ancient Town project. This project received strong support from CEO Zhao and the group's board of directors and was quickly approved. Hongyuan Home Furnishing once again mobilized its entire staff. This time, our battlefield was an ancient town with 100 years of history. My contact with Zhao Qingya also increased due to our work relationship. She was in charge of the marketing department, and the initial publicity and promotion of the Ancient Town project were all her responsibility. We often had meetings together, went on business trips together, argued until we were red in the face over an idea, and then celebrated with a high five when a plan was approved. I found myself admiring this girl more and more. She was smart, capable, and had her own opinions, decisive and strong at work, but very gentle and considerate in her personal life. She would remember that I don't like cilantro, would bring me a hot coffee when I worked overtime, and would quietly stay by my side when I was frustrated with work pressure, listening to me vent. Being with her, I felt very relaxed, very comfortable. I knew I was probably falling for her, but I was a little hesitant. The failure of my previous relationship had left a deep psychological shadow on me. Moreover, she was the boss's daughter, and I didn't want others to think I was approaching her to climb the social ladder. That night, we were again working overtime in the office, until late because of a promotion plan. After solving the last problem, we both breathed a sigh of relief. "Let's go. He'll treat you to a late-night snack," I said to her. We found a roadside stall and ordered some snacks and 2 bottles of beer. "Qingya, thank you." I raised my glass, thanking me again. She smiled at me. "You've thanked me 800 times today. I mean it," I said. "You've worked hard during this time. It's worth it if it's for you." She took a sip of beer, looking at me, her eyes sparkling in the night. "Lin Fan, is something on your mind?" I was stunned for a moment. "I'm just a little scared." I lowered my head, my voice a bit dry. "I'm afraid of making the same mistake again." "I've heard all about what happened in the past." Zhao Qingya's voice was very gentle. "It wasn't your fault. You just loved the wrong person." She reached out and placed her hand on the back of mine. "Lin Fan, you are a good man and you deserve better things. You don't need to be afraid, nor do you need to feel inferior. Everything you have now, you've earned with your own abilities, without relying on anyone. I know you're worried about my status, but I want to tell you, I like you. Not because you're the CEO of my father's company, but because you are you, a talented man, a responsible man, the Lin Fan who will stand up to protect others." Her confession was like a warm current that flowed through my body in an instant. I looked up into her sincere eyes, and all my worries and hesitation vanished at that moment. I took her hand, holding it tightly. "Qingya, will you be my girlfriend?" She smiled, the corners of her eyes curving like a crescent moon in the sky. "I've been waiting for you to say that for a long time." After getting together with Zhao Qingya, my life seemed to be painted with new colors. We went to work together, left work together, and strived for our shared career. On weekends, we would go to the movies, like any other normal couple, stroll in the park or stay at home, where I would cook and she would do the dishes. She brought me into her family. Uncle Zhao and Auntie Zhao both adored me, treating me like half a son. I also took her to my hometown to meet my parents. My parents saw how beautiful and sensible Zhao Qingya was, not arrogant at all, and they couldn't stop smiling. They held her hand, asking all sorts of questions, wishing they could make her their daughter-in-law right away. Our relationship quickly blossomed in our simple yet warm life. The Ancient Town project was also progressing in an orderly manner. Through the efforts of my team and me, the once dilapidated ancient town was glowing with new vitality. The architecture was restored to its original state, the stone-paved roads were clean, a small stream trickled by, and old craft shops were rediscovered and revitalized. Everything was developing just as we had planned. 1 year later, the first phase of the Ancient Town project officially opened. On opening day, it was a sea of people, an unprecedentedly grand spectacle. The beauty of the ancient town quickly spread across social media through the lenses of countless tourists, becoming the new hotspot for check-ins. The project's success brought the reputation of Hongyuan Home Furnishing to a new height in the industry. Because of this, I also received the group's special award. Besides a generous bonus, Uncle Zhao also gave me an additional 5% of the company's shares. Now, I was not only the CEO of Hongyuan Home Furnishing, but also became one of the shareholders of the Hongyuan Group. On the night of the celebration party, I proposed to Zhao Qingya in front of everyone. I got down on one knee and took out the diamond ring I had bought with the commission from my first project. Qingya, thank you for appearing in my life, illuminating all my darkest corners. Will you marry me and let me spend the rest of my life protecting you? Zhao Qingya's eyes welled up with tears. She put on the ring amidst everyone's cheers and blessings. I do. Our wedding was set for half a year later. This time, I didn't have to empty my savings for a wedding house or struggle and stress over it. I bought a spacious apartment in the best location in the city center, putting both my name and Zhao Qingya's on it. The decoration was, of course, handled by the best team from Hongyuan Home Furnishing. Zhao Qingya didn't have many requests for the decor. She just said one thing. I trust your aesthetic taste. I smiled. I didn't design it in any kind of French cream style, but based on both of our living habits, I designed a modern, simple, and comfortable home filled with smart home appliances. This place would be the starting point for our happy life in the future. The wedding preparations were also proceeding in an orderly manner. The Zhao family was prestigious, so the wedding naturally had to be grand and impeccable. But Zhao Qingya said, a wedding is just a formality. I don't want to make it too complicated. As long as our most important family and friends are there, that's enough. In the end, we decided to hold a Chinese-style wedding in the ancient town, the place where we strived together, which witnessed our love to exchange our lifelong vows. Just as I was immersed in happiness and busy with preparations, an unexpected person came looking for me. It was Li Hao. He asked me out for a drink, but his expression wasn't as relaxed as usual. Instead, he seemed hesitant. Hi, Ozi. If something's on your mind, just say it. Why be secretive with me? I poured him a glass of alcohol. Li Hao sighed, took a big gulp, and then slowly spoke. Fanzi, there's something. I don't know if I should tell you. What is it? I frowned. Do you still remember Sun Miao? Sun Miao, a name I hadn't heard in a long time. She was Liu Ruyan's best friend, the one who tipped me off at the beginning, that woman who made me lose face in front of Uncle Zhao. I remember. What about her? She hasn't been doing so well lately. Li Hao's expression was a bit complicated. After what happened to Liu Ruyan, she couldn't stay at the company anymore. She was shunned by her colleagues and later resigned. She had trouble finding a job everywhere she went. Many companies, as soon as they heard she was connected to Liu Ruyan, wouldn't hire her. Not long ago, she found out she has uremia and she needs a kidney transplant, which costs a huge amount of money. I listened in silence, saying nothing. Her family's financial situation is average. They can't afford the surgery at all. She wants to borrow some money from you, Li Hao said with difficulty. Borrow money from me? I laughed. On what grounds? I know this is outrageous, Li Hao said with a bitter smile. After how she treated you before, she still has the nerve to ask you for a loan now. It's really, but she's at the end of her rope. She called my girlfriend several times, crying nonstop. My girlfriend has a soft heart, so she asked me to come talk. I put down my glass and looked at Li Hao. Hao Zi, do you think I should lend it to her? Li Hao was silent. He knew I shouldn't. Morally speaking, Sun Miao and I were not close. We barely knew each other. We even had a conflict. I have no obligation to help her. Fan, I'm just the messenger. Whether you lend her the money or not is entirely up to you. If you don't, I completely understand. If it were me, I wouldn't lend it either. Li Hao quickly stated his position. I shook my head. I'll lend it. Li Hao was stunned. What? I'll lend it, but not for free. I looked at him and said slowly, tell her, the money. I can give her the money for the surgery and it'll cover all her subsequent treatment costs. But I have one condition. What condition? I want her to find someone for me. Find who? I said a name I thought I would never mention again, but it had always been a thorn in my side. Songji's cousin, Zhang Wei. Li Hao looked confused. Zhang Wei? Who's that? What does he have to do with this? I let out a cold laugh. He has a lot to do with it. When I was selling the wedding house, that Mr. Zhang who appeared in a hurry, claiming he'd pay in full so I could sell the house quickly, that was him. I only found this out much later through some channels. At the time, I was in a rush to sell and didn't think much of it. But thinking back now, everything went too smoothly, suspiciously smooth, as if someone was pulling the strings from behind. That Mr. Zhang appeared at just the right time, and he paid very promptly, as if he was specifically waiting to buy this house from me. Later, I investigated. He wasn't a young couple in urgent need of a house at all, but a professional real estate investor. His more important identity is Song's cousin. I immediately understood. This was a trap set for me by Song, Z, and Liu Ruyan together. They had calculated that I would go crazy when I saw that picture in the tent, that I would lose my mind and impulsively sell the house. So Songji arranged it beforehand for his cousin to use a below-market price to quickly buy my house. After I sold the house, they would come back crying to me, begging to get back together. If my heart softened and I agreed to reconcile, then we would have to pay a higher price to buy the house back from his cousin. By buying and selling like that, they would make at least several $100,000 in profit. As for me, not only would I be cheated on, but I'd also be the fool who was scammed out of money, paying for their trip to Tibet. Truly killing two birds with one stone? How vicious. Unfortunately for them, no matter how they calculated, they never expected that I would never go back to an ex, and they certainly didn't expect that I had video evidence of them. Their plan completely fell apart from the very beginning, and Liu Ruyan's death and Songji's imprisonment were even more unexpected to them. Now I have to drag this hidden venomous snake out of the water. Tell Sun Miao to investigate thoroughly, find out exactly how much commission Jiang Wei gave Songji and Liu Ruyan back then, and how they split it. Get all the evidence, bank statements, chat histories, find it all for me. As long as she does this well, I will take care of her illness until the end. I looked at Li Hao's shocked expression and said word by word, I want the Song family to never be able to hold their heads up again. Li Hao was stunned by my words, speechless for a long time. He probably never imagined that behind this matter hid such a vicious trap. Fonzie, are you sure? I'm absolutely sure about this. My gaze didn't waver. When I sold the house, the market price was around 3.6 million. Because I wanted to sell it quickly, I listed it for 3.5 million. That Jiang Wei, who is also Songji's cousin, haggled with me for another 50,000, and we finally settled on 3.45 million, and he flipped it in less than a month, selling the house to someone else for 3.8 million. The difference, plus the amount I discounted, means they made at least 450,000. This money, I guess most of it went into Songji's pocket, becoming the so-called love fund for him and Liu Ruyan. Li Hao was dumbfounded as he listened. He even forgot to put down the glass in his hand. Damn it. This is just too vicious. He couldn't help but swear. Those two are truly not human. So, I looked at him. Do you think I should let them go? Li Hao shook his head, his face full of anger. You shouldn't, Funzi. He'll help you with this. My girlfriend is on good terms with Sun Miao. He'll go talk to her and have her convince Sun Miao. Sun Miao was Liu Ruyan's best friend. She definitely knows some inside information. To save her own life, she'll spill everything. Good, I nodded. Tell Sun Miao, as long as the evidence she provides is real, I will keep my word. But if she dares to play any tricks or deceive me, then her end will be even more tragic than Liu Ruyan's. My voice was very cold. Li Hao shivered hearing it. He knew I wasn't joking. I didn't tell Zhao Qingya about this. It wasn't that I didn't trust her, but I didn't want her to be troubled by these trivial matters. This was my own business. The final conclusion between me and that past I could never look back on. I had to put an end to this myself. Things with Sun Miao progressed very smoothly. Faced with the threat of death and the temptation of money, so-called best friendship wasn't worth a dime. She chose betrayal with almost no hesitation. She told Li Hao's girlfriend that before Liu Ruyan and Songji went to Tibet, they had indeed discussed this plan. At that time, Liu Ruyan was still hesitant, feeling that doing this would be too unfair to me. It was Songji who constantly brainwashed her, saying I was just a provider, that I didn't love her, that I only loved her youth and beauty, and just wanted to find someone to marry and have children with. He said that men like me deserved to be taught a lesson. He also promised Liu Ruyan that, once they got the money, he would take Liu Ruyan traveling around the world to live the life of poetry in faraway places she always dreamed of. Liu Ruyan was convinced by him. Her posting the picture in the tent was also instigated by Songji. The main purpose was to provoke me. And that money, Songji's cousin Jiang Wei did indeed give them a commission, 400,000 in total. Songji took 300,000 for himself and gave Liu Ruyan 100,000. After Liu Ruyan received the money, she even happily treated Sun Miao and everyone to a lavish meal, saying she was finally financially independent. Sun Miao also sent the chat history between her and Liu Ruyan, and even the screenshot of the bank transfer Liu Ruyan had shown her. The evidence was irrefutable. I looked at those chat logs, those glaring words, and just felt disgusted. The girl I once cherished in the palm of my hand turned out to be scheming against me like this behind my back. I handed all the evidence over to Lawyer Wang. Lawyer Wang filed a lawsuit against Songji and Jiang Wei for fraud. Lawyer Wang looked at the evidence in her hand, and her expression became serious. Co. Lin, this case is a bit complicated. Songji is already serving a sentence to add another charge. Jiang Wei is the key figure, but it's very likely he won't admit it. Moreover, to establish fraud, we need to prove they had the intent of illegal possession, fabricating facts, or concealing the truth. We need more direct evidence to prove that a conspiracy to commit fraud existed between the three of them. Sun Miao's testimony in these chat logs can be used as circumstantial evidence, but it's still not enough. I understand. I nodded. So I need you to help me with something. Lawyer Wang and I had a secret discussion in the office for an entire afternoon. A few days later, Songji, who was serving his sentence, suddenly received a prison visit request from his cousin, Jiang Wei. Of course, this Jiang Wei was an imposter, someone I had hired to act the part. In the visitation room, separated by a thick glass panel, Jiang Wei picked up the phone, his face anxious. Aja, there's trouble. That bastard Line Fan seems to know about our plan. He's found a lawyer and is preparing to sue us for fraud. Songji's expression changed instantly upon hearing this. Impossible. How could he know? Liu Ruyan is dead. There are no witnesses. I don't know either, but he seems to have evidence. The police have already started investigating my accounts. Aja, you were the one who told me to do it. You can't just leave me to fend for myself. We're grasshoppers on the same rope. The actor playing Jiang Wei was very good, portraying a panicked accomplice very vividly. Songji grew anxious. What are you panicking for? Didn't you get your cut of the money? What are you afraid of? I'm scared. Of course I'm scared. If we get convicted of fraud, we'll both have to go to jail. You're already in there. A few more years won't make a difference. I don't want to go to prison. Then what do you want? Pin all the blame on Liu Ruyan? Zhang Wei lowered his voice. Just say she orchestrated the whole thing, that she was short on cash and wanted to get some money from Lin Fan. We were just used by her. Now that she's dead, there's no one to refute it. The police can't do anything to us. Song's eyes lit up, then darkened again. No, Liu Ruyan's parents won't let me off. What can her parents do? Are they above the law? As long as we get our stories straight and pin everything on a dead person, who can prove that we're lying? Song. Zhe fell into deep thought. A few minutes later, he looked up, his eyes turning vicious. Fine, let's do that. Just say it was that bitch Liu Ruyan. She was insatiably greedy, trying to have it both ways. It was her who begged me, asking me to help find a buyer. She also took most of the money from the house. Yes, let's say that. Zhang Wei nodded repeatedly. They didn't know that this conversation of shifting blame was being clearly recorded by a device I had planted. This recording, along with Sun Miao's testimony and those chat logs and the bank statements, formed a complete chain of evidence. Songzhe, Zhang Wei, your doomsday has come. When I handed that clear recording to Lawyer Wang, he couldn't help but give me a thumbs up. CO Lin, brilliant, truly brilliant. With this confession, the crime of Songzhi and Zhang Wei colluding to commit fraud is basically a sealed deal. Lawyer Wang immediately reported the case to the police. The police, based on the clues we provided, quickly apprehended Zhang Wei, and from his bank statements traced the flow of that 400,000 commission. The evidence was ironclad. The Song and Zhang families were in a complete panic. They wanted to pull their old tricks, coming to my company to cause a scene, but they couldn't even get into the office building before being stopped by security. They then wanted to find the media to play the victim, claiming that I, a capitalist, was pushing them to their deaths, leaving them with no way out. But this time, no media outlet paid them any attention. With the precedent set by Liu Ruyan's case, no one wanted to be used as a tool again. Reporting on this kind of bottomless, rotten affair and people, moreover the influence of the Hung Yuan group locally was different now. No one wanted to offend a major corporation just for a bit of traffic. The Song and Zhang families became complete pariahs, despised by everyone. Not long after, the court held a hearing for this fraud case. In court, when that recording was played, the faces of Songzhe and Zhang Wei instantly turned ashen. They probably never dreamed that the escape plan they had so carefully designed would become the very hammer that condemned them. Songzhi's parents, in the audience gallery, fainted on the spot. Finally, the court delivered its verdict. Songzhi, for fraud involving a large sum, was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Combined with the previous 5 years for manslaughter, the sentences for both crimes were combined, resulting in a total of 10 years to be served. Zhang Wei, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay a fine. At the same time, the court ordered them to return all the defrauded money and compensate me for my economic losses. The moment I received the verdict, I let out a long sigh of relief. This feud that had lasted for over a year had finally come to the most thorough conclusion. Evil begets evil. Songzhi had paid with 10 years of his freedom for his treachery and malice. Liu Ruyan had paid with her entire life for her vanity and foolishness. As for me, I was reborn from this ordeal. I kept my promise and paid for all of Sun Miao's medical expenses. Her kidney transplant surgery was a great success. Afterwards, she sent me a very long text message. In the message, besides thanks, there was even more regret. She said she deeply regretted that she had initially, for the sake of so-called friendship, abetted the wicked and almost ruined me. She said Liu Ruyan's tragedy and her own serious illness had made her understand that the most important thing in life is to have a conscience, to have principles. I didn't reply to her. I helped her, not because I had forgiven them, but only because I didn't want to become like them. My life had long since turned a new page. My wedding with Zhao Qingya was held as scheduled in the ancient town. On that day, the ancient town was decorated with lanterns and flowers. The atmosphere was festive. I wore a traditional deep red wedding suit, rode a tall horse, and amidst the sound of resounding gongs and drums and the blessings of friends and family, I went to pick up my bride. Zhao Qingya wore a phoenix coronet and robes of rank, looking indescribably beautiful. When we followed the ceremony, traditional bowing to heaven and earth, bowing to our parents, and bowing to each other as husband and wife, the moment we were led into the bridal chamber, I looked at her smiling gracefully before me, my heart filled with unprecedented happiness and peace. I had finally found the person who could stand shoulder to shoulder with me, a soulmate to hold hands with for the rest of my life, not based on some vague, ethereal connection, but on true understanding, support, and sharing weal and woe. On our wedding night, we didn't have the boisterous celebrations in the bridal chamber like others. We just held each other, sitting by the window, watching the quiet night of the ancient town. "What are you thinking about?" She leaned on my shoulder and asked softly. "I was thinking how lucky I am to have met you." I held her hand tightly. "Me too," she smiled. "But there's something I haven't told you yet." "What is it?" "Actually, the first time we met wasn't at the bar." I was stunned. "It wasn't?" "No." She shook her head, a mischievous smile on her face. "Do you remember when you were selling that wedding house? A young couple came to look at it?" A flash of realization went through my mind, and I immediately remembered. The couple looked very loving, the young couple who really liked that house. So that woman was you? I looked at her in disbelief. Zhao Qingya smiled and nodded. That day, a friend of my father's, who was also your agent, Wang Ge, called him, saying there was a good house for urgent sale. My dad knew I was still looking for a house, so he told me to go take a look. At that time, I saw that the house was decorated with a lot of heart, very cozy. The designer must be a person who loves life very much. Then I saw you. You were standing there alone, looking lonely, completely out of place with the house. Wang Ge secretly told me that you were selling the house because your fiancé had cheated on you. In that moment, I don't know why, but I had a very strange feeling about you. There was pity, but more than that, curiosity. I wanted to know what kind of man would pour everything he had into building a home, only to resolutely destroy it with his own hands after being betrayed. So later, at the bar, when my dad said he wanted to introduce you to me, I wasn't surprised at all. I even felt that this was fate. Listening to her story, my heart was in turmoil. It turns out our fate had begun so early. At the most pathetic and worst time of my life, she had seen the persistence and love of her family deep within my heart. I hugged her tightly, as if wanting to merge her into my very bones. Qingya, thank you. Thank you, for when I had fallen into the abyss, you saw my light. Thank you for using your love to heal all my wounds. Married life was sweet and fulfilling. Qingya and I were intimate lovers and also partners who fought side by side. Hengyuan Jia, under our joint management, its business prospered more and more, quickly becoming the leader in the domestic high-end interior decoration industry. The second and third phases of the ancient town project were also completed one after another, achieving resounding success, becoming a benchmark case in the cultural tourism real estate industry. My wealth also soared, along with the company's development, and I had long since achieved financial freedom. I brought my parents to the city, bought them a large house right next to our neighborhood, making it convenient to visit and take care of them. Seeing them happily playing with their grandson every day, I felt that all my efforts were meaningful. That's right, Qingya and I had an adorable son. His nickname is An. Wishing for him to have a peaceful and happy life. The little guy is healthy and bright, perfectly inheriting the best traits of Qingya and me, both smart and mischievous, the joy of the whole family. Director Jiao, my father-in-law, had long since retired to the background, gradually handing over the burden of the group to me. He would often pat my shoulder and say with emotion, Lin Fan, entrusting Qingya and Heng Yuan to you was the best decision of my life. My life seemed to have reached its peak. A happy family, a successful career, everything was as wonderful as a dream. However, just when I thought the ghosts of the past had completely vanished, the appearance of someone dragged me back to that terrible memory. That day, I took Qingya and An for a walk in a newly opened shopping mall. In front of a luxury brand store, we ran into Liu Ruyan's parents. After not seeing them for a few years, they had aged a lot. Lin Fu's hair had turned completely white and his back was stooped. As for Mother Lin, she looked distraught with a vacant look in her eyes. They were wearing old, ill-fitting clothes, carrying a supermarket shopping bag, completely out of place with the glamorous surroundings. Seeing our happy family of three, so cheerful and harmonious, their expressions immediately became complicated. There was envy, there was resentment, and a hint of regret. Mother Lin's lips trembled, as if she wanted to say something, but Lin Fu pulled her back. He bowed deeply to me. Director Lin, I'm sorry. We've disturbed you. After speaking, he pulled Mother Lin, who was still staring blankly at An, and hurriedly left. Watching their receding backs, Qingya took my hand. It's all in the past, she said softly. I nodded, hugging An tightly in my arms. Yes, it's all in the past. I used to hate them, hating their foolishness and ignorance, hating that they had raised a daughter like Liu Ruyan. But now, seeing their desolate old age, my heart was filled only with sorrow. Pitiable people must have their detestable aspects. They had paid the highest price for their short-sightedness and indulgence. I thought this was just a chance encounter. Unexpectedly, a few days later, Lin Fu contacted me through our company's receptionist. He asked to meet me, saying there was something he had to give me in person. I hesitated for a long time, but finally agreed. The meeting was set at a quiet tea house. He looked even more haggard than the last time we met. Director Lin, thank you for agreeing to see me. From the cloth bag he carried, he carefully took out a diary and handed it to me. This is Ruyan's diary, he said in a hoarse voice. After she passed away, we found it while cleaning out her belongings. It has a lot written about you. I didn't take it. Uncle, she's already gone. What's the point of looking at this now? There is a point. He insisted on putting the diary in my hand. We were wrong to blame you before. After you read this, you might understand a few things. Her mother has mental problems now. Sometimes lucid, sometimes confused, always thinking Ruyan isn't dead, that she's still waiting for you. I can't take it anymore. Tears streamed down his face. We sold our house in the countryside to pay for her medical treatment. Now we're renting a basement. I know this is retribution. I looked at his aged face, and the yellowed diary, my heart a tangled mess. In the end, I took it. Back home, after Qingya and our son were asleep, I was alone in the study and opened the dusty diary. The first page of the diary was written about when we had just gotten together. The handwriting was elegant, filled with a young girl's sweetness and dreams. Today, Lin Fan confessed to me. I'm so happy. He's exactly my type, bright, handsome, and very hardworking. Lin Fan took me to his home. His parents treated me very well. I feel like the happiest person in the world. I flipped through the pages. The beautiful memories of the past flashed before my eyes like a movie, until the name Song Ji started appearing frequently. Asia said Lin Fan is too boring and not romantic at all. I guess he's a little like that. He never prepares any surprises for me. He only knows how to ask if I'm hungry or cold. Fought with Lin Fan today, because I was talking to a Z until midnight again. Lin Fan told me to keep my distance from a Z. What right does he have to control me? A Z is the one who understands me best. As he said, true high-class love is a spiritual connection. Material things are secondary. I think he's right. Lin Fan only knows how to work and make money every day. It's too mundane. The Liu Ruyan in the diary gradually became a stranger to me. She started to find me boring, started complaining that I wasn't romantic, started indulging in what songs he had woven for her, a fantasy dream of a soulmate. She enjoyed all the material foundations I provided, but she looked down on my spiritual mediocrity. She wanted my practical sacrifices, but also wanted songs' vague, ethereal romance. She wanted it all. I flipped to the last page, which was what she wrote before going to Tibet. As she said, "This is our last chance. Once we get the money, we'll run away far from here." I'm a little scared. I feel guilty towards Lin Fan. But as he said, this is for the pursuit of true love. It's brave, not a betrayal. Lin Fan, I'm sorry. I hope you can find someone who only loves you in the future. I wish that person wasn't me. Closing the diary, I let out a long sigh. It turns out she was also conflicted, also felt guilty. It's just that in the end, her vanity and greed overcame what little conscience she had left. It's not that she didn't love me, she just loved herself more. And she also loved what songs he had painted, a false dream of elite love. At this moment, the last bit of hatred I had for her also vanished into thin air. All that remained was endless sorrow. Sorrow for a girl who had gone astray and never came to her senses, even in death. Sorrow for a ruined family. The next day, I established a charity fund in the company's name. The fund's first project was to help elderly people facing difficulties due to family misfortunes. I had the fund staff contact Liu Ruyan's father under the guise of a donation from public charity to provide them with a regular living allowance and arrange for Mother Lin to be treated at a professional psychiatric hospital. I didn't show my face. I didn't want them to know it was me. This was probably the last thing I could do for the past 5 years, one final act. After finishing all of this, my heart also returned to complete peace. I devoted more of my energy to my family and career. I grew up with an An little by little, teaching him to talk, teaching him to walk, enjoying every moment of fatherhood. My relationship with Qingyao was like fine old wine, growing richer with time. There were almost no secrets between us, nothing we couldn't talk about. I told her the story about Liu Ruyan's diary. After listening, she just hugged me and said softly, "It's all in the past. From now on, you have me. Yes, I have her, I have our family, I have our shared career." My life was no longer a solitary battle. A few years later, Heng Yuan Ju Jia successfully went public on the stock market. On the day of the bell-ringing ceremony, as the chairman of the company's board of directors, I stood under the spotlight to give a speech. I saw my parents in the audience, my parents-in-law, their faces filled with pride and joy. I saw my team, the brothers and sisters who had struggled alongside me all this way. Their eyes were filled with emotion and joy. Finally, my gaze rested on Qingya and an An. Qingya was holding an An, smiling at me. Her gaze was gentle yet firm, the greatest harbor of my life. And an An was waving his little hands, calling out in his childish voice, "Daddy, Daddy!" I smiled and said the last sentence into the microphone. I want to thank one person, my wife, Zhao Qingya. It was she who helped me rebuild my world from the ashes to have everything I have today. Thank you, my dear wife. I love you. The entire hall erupted in thunderous applause. In the audience, Qingya was smiling through her tears. I stepped down from the stage, walked through the crowd, and came before her, hugging her and our son tightly. There was a time I thought losing a house was losing everything. But now I understand, a real home is not a house built of reinforced concrete, but the person who can put your heart at ease, who lets you drop all your defenses, who can laugh with you and cry with you. Fortunately, I have found it.